Alright guys, so as you know, it has been truly wireless earbud video after truly wireless earbud video, and so today we have another truly wireless earbud video. The pair we're going to check out is the Icon from EOZ. Now EOZ is a company that has some other products I've tried in the past. In fact, on the channel I have reviewed the EOZ Air, which has the ear hook, and it was more a design for people who like to work out, people who are active and going out and exercising and running and stuff like that, and it was a really good alternative to pairs like the Power Beats. So I felt on that product you got a lot of bang for the buck. Now the Icon from EOZ is more the AirPod style, and they come in at $90. But let's go ahead and check out some of the features and what you get inside the box. The first thing that I do want to point out, coming in at $90 right now, upwards right there at $100, you have a lot of competition. Most of the best truly wireless earbuds you can get at $100, like $80 to $100. So to come in priced at that level, you have some stiff competition and you need to offer something pretty special at this point. And so the EOZ does have Bluetooth 5.0, and I didn't have any issues when it came with connections. I didn't have any lag issues with watching videos, but it didn't offer any of the higher res Bluetooth codecs. So it doesn't have aptX playback, it doesn't have AAC, so that's definitely something I would have liked to have seen in these. Now as far as the IP rating, it is IPX6, so that is very close to IPX7 waterproof. So this is a pair that I honestly think you could probably take a shower with if you wanted to, but it's still not a pair that you want to submerge into water. So although this does have the AirPod style design, these do use silicone ear tips. So inside the box you're getting the usual small, medium, and large, and I can't stress enough how important it is to get the right ear tip to get the most out of your earbuds. Now also, I am definitely happy to say, as far as your charging cable goes, it is USB-C. And then speaking of the charging cable, the battery life on these you're going to get around 5 hours individually, with about 45 hours total using the case. So that's actually pretty impressive as far as battery life goes. That will get most people through a couple of weeks before needing to charge the case. Now looking at the case, for these to be the AirPod style design, this is actually a fairly small case. On the side you can see the USB-C input for charging, and then on the front you have this little glossy area, and that's where your indicator lights are to show you the battery life of the case. Alright, so moving over to the earbuds themselves, the first thing you're going to notice is this big round flat area. So initially you're probably thinking what I'm thinking, because these have touch controls, that would be where you would use your touch controls. Well, it's not. That's actually just there for looks. In fact, right below it you can see this tiny little dot, which looks like a microphone. That is your touch area. So it's kind of confusing to why they didn't utilize this big flat round area and then instead just use this really small area underneath. Now speaking of the controls do control your play, pause, skipping forward, and going backwards, but there is no volume control, which I am never a huge fan of because I do not like to have to pull out my phone to control the volume, and I don't like having to use my smart assistant to tell it to turn the volume up. I like to be able to do everything within the controls of the earbuds themselves. So that right there is another thing that I would have liked to have seen them do differently. If you are somebody that likes to use your earbuds individually, you can use either the left or the right. Now another thing that they advertised is they said that the mics on the earbuds is indistinguishable from the mics that are on your phone. That's a pretty bold statement for a pair of truly wireless earbuds, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. Alright guys, so here is a mic test of the Icons. This is what they're saying is indistinguishable from the sound of your phone. And so here is the microphone with a crowd noise being played in the background, so you'll get an idea of what it would sound like when you take a call in public. So now let's move over to the sound. First thing is, going into this, I'm seeing the price range and I'm seeing the competition, and I know that you need to have something pretty impressive to stand out amongst all of the others. And to be honest, it has some very, very impressive bass, but it also, in my opinion, might actually have too much bass. And there's no way to control this. There's no app to EQ these. You're stuck with the audio exactly the way it is. So in my opinion, even though this is a very dynamic sound, and I think they did an excellent job with the mids. The mids are always forward. Vocals I've never had an issue being able to hear. I think the bass, even though I'm a bass head, is very boomy and I love it. I think at times it might just be too much. And so depending on what you're listening to, for the most part, it can sound completely fine. But when you're listening to metal or a genre where a lot of stuff's going on, that bass is ultimately just going to come in and destroy everything else. And so it makes things not always enjoyable to listen to. So the treble, I think, definitely needed to be tuned up a little bit more to be able to balance out with that heavy bass, but they really need to control the bass a little bit more, or at least give you the option to EQ this in some way, shape, or form. So the soundstage is not very open because of its dynamic sound and because of that boomy bass. So it feels like maybe a medium-sized room, and it's really hard to tell where all instruments are coming from because it feels like everything is just being thrown right there in your face. Now, as far as my cons go with this, move the touch controls up to the round flat surface. To me, that just makes a whole lot more sense. And then if you're going to have a boomy bass, at least give people the options to be able to adjust this. I mean, boomy bass is great, but it's not great at all times. So I personally think this is an excellent alternative to AirPods if you're somebody that just listens to like more mainstream pop or maybe even hip hop. But outside of that, if you listen to a lot of different genres, or if you're just somebody that likes a lot of clarity in your music, I would not recommend these. But guys, that's my video on the icons from EOZ. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.